We often think of global geopolitics and macroeconomics as these invisible, abstract forces just kind of floating in the ether. But honestly, they almost always require a physical stage: concrete, steel, real, tangible spaces. Today, we're diving into exactly how a single piece of infrastructure, literally just poured concrete, steel trusses, and engineered space, can entirely rewrite a nation's global trade relationships and its local economy. Let's get right into this explainer.
So here's the big question. How exactly does an empty lot transform into a country's premier geopolitical launchpad? It's a fascinating mystery, right? For this explainer, I want you to look at the building itself as the main character of our story. We're going to trace its evolution from a simple architectural blueprint to a massive, bustling nexus of international diplomacy and multi-billion-dollar commerce.
Okay, picture Karachi back in the 1990s. It was already the undisputed economic engine of Pakistan, no question. But there was a massive structural void. If you wanted to show off heavy industrial machinery or, say, host high net worth foreign buyers, what did you do? Well, your only real options were luxury hotel banquet halls or literally pitching highly vulnerable canvas tents in public parks. Obviously, the Export Promotion Bureau was totally hamstrung by this. To fix it, the Ministry of Commerce finally stepped in and approved this massive, specialized, heavy-duty megastructure right on Main University Road.
And the fascinating thing is, they didn't just build this place and leave it static. It's constantly adapting. Opening its doors right around the turn of the millennium, it immediately pivoted to host a massive international defense show. Then, jump forward a few years, and it's the beating heart of consumer commerce. Fast forward a couple decades, it morphs into a massive pandemic survival ward. And today, it's pushing the entire country toward green technology. It's really a living, breathing piece of infrastructure. Section 1, the Trial by Fire, IDAs 2000. Listen, this building did not get to ease into its role at all. It had an absolute baptism by fire. Driven directly by a mandate from the federal state commands and General Pervez Musharraf, the venue was chosen in November 2000 to host the inaugural Tri-Service International Defense Exhibition and Seminar, or IDEAS. Just think about the sheer physical stress of an event like this. They were securing and displaying actual heavy military hardware. We're talking indigenously manufactured armored vehicles, massive aviation mock-ups, missile guidance frameworks. By successfully pulling this off and hosting high-level defense delegations from over 35 different nations, the venue definitively proved it had the structural and security mettle to play in the big leagues. Because of that, IDEAS 2000 literally transformed the identity of the Karachi Expo Center overnight. It wasn't just some local industrial project anymore. It suddenly became a highly secured, internationally recognized diplomatic enclave. Now, every 2 years, the complex undergoes this massive administrative shift, bringing in global defense conglomerates and state enterprises from China, Turkey, Russia, and Western Europe to negotiate serious bilateral defense procurements.
Section 2, the commercial boom. So, a building of this incredible scale definitely cannot survive just by hosting defense shows every 2 years, right? The Trade Development Authority of Pakistan had to act fast, rapidly diversifying the facility's calendar for civilian and commercial use. And wow, did it work? 1 million. A million people. That is the staggering volume of visitors drawn annually to just one of the center's flagship events, the My Karachi Oasis of Harmony exhibition. That is just an insane amount of human footfall for a single venue to process safely and efficiently. To keep that massive calendar full, they brought in everything. Events like the Dawn All About Lifestyle show pulled in huge urban crowds, while the My Karachi Mega Fair created this sprawling B2B and B2C arena. But let's zoom in on what this actually means for specific industries. Because of these events, suddenly, a small or medium enterprise from Sialkot had a direct, physical platform to connect with global supply chains without ever leaving the country. Even local publishers found this amazing educational sanctuary through the Karachi International Book Fair. It was essentially a total democratization of commercial access, a real game changer. But of course, none of this happens by magic. It takes an absolute army behind the scenes. You have the Ministry of Commerce setting the strategic trade agendas, and TDAP, the Trade Development Authority, acting as the direct administrative parent body. And the center itself? It's managed by federal civil servants operating under Pakistan's BPS, or Basic Pay Scale framework. Throw in the commercial chambers and specialized coalitions like the builders and automotive manufacturers, and yeah, it takes an entire, complex ecosystem of governance just to keep the lights on and the deals flowing. Section 3, Anatomy of a Megastructure.
To make all this intense human and economic activity possible requires some seriously heavy-duty physical engineering. We are talking about a massive footprint here, roughly 100,000 square meters, planted right in the urban core of Gulshan-e-Iqbal. It is perfectly positioned near the Karachi Civic Center and major transport arteries. Why? Because you absolutely need that kind of infrastructure to handle the immense logistical flow of heavy goods and thousands of foreign delegates. Now, within that massive footprint, the facility is broken down into exactly 6 autonomous yet interconnected exhibition halls. These 6 halls are really the beating heart of the whole operation. They allow organizers to run multiple massive events simultaneously, or if they need to, they can link them all together for one sprawling, continuous international showcase. Now, here's a detail I absolutely love. It's called Clear Span Exhibition Space. When they built the venue, this architectural choice was the exact game changer they needed for international trade. Think about it. If you're trying to display a gigantic textile machine or a military aircraft mock-up, a room full of load-bearing pillars is going to completely ruin your floor plan, right? By engineering a massive space entirely lacking internal pillars, they unlock the ability to seamlessly wheel in and display incredibly heavy, oversized industrial hardware. Let's actually look at the specific floor plan dimensions here. You can see halls 4, 5, and 6 are huge, scaling up to over 3,300 square meters each. Plus, you've got a dedicated Congress Center, spanning over 2,700 square meters, complete with press rooms and conference areas. And check out the bottom row, nearly 21,000 square meters just for open parking. That's enough space to safely hold 2,400 cars during these mega events. But honestly, the real magic of this building is all the stuff you don't see. If you're hosting global buyers, you simply cannot risk a power outage halfway through a multi-million-dollar tech demonstration, right? That'd be a disaster. So the center is completely insulated from municipal power grid fluctuations. It relies on its own independent heavy industrial substation and autonomous high-capacity diesel generator farms. Add in centralized industrial HVAC to keep those massive crowds cool, and subfloor utility trenches so dangerous wiring isn't cluttering up the exhibition floor. It's just brilliantly designed. Section 4. Crisis, Resilience, and the Future. So what happens when a building specifically designed to bring tens of thousands of people together is suddenly slammed by a global pandemic? Normally, this place operates as a relentless commercial engine, hosting 30 to 40 macro-level trade exhibitions every single year, but in 2020, those commercial duties just evaporated overnight. However, because of its massive open-floor layout and heavy industrial ventilation systems, health authorities realized it was perfect for something else. They completely retrofitted it into a 24-hour mass vaccination center and field isolation ward for Karachi East. It proved its ultimate value, not just as a corporate hub, but as an absolutely critical civil defense sanctuary processing millions of citizens. And then, coming out of the pandemic, the center bounced back with incredible resilience. Now fully in its post-pandemic modernization phase, it's actually become the primary launchpad for bringing eco-centric tech into South Asian markets. By hosting record-breaking events like the Solar Pakistan Show and the Pakistan Auto Show, it's literally facilitating the entire country's transition toward green energy and electric mobility. When you really step back and look at it, the true legacy of this megastructure isn't just the concrete, the steel, or the diesel generators. It is all about the democratization of access. It fundamentally shifted the domestic economy by giving small and medium enterprises, sometimes from really remote industrial clusters, a physical doorway right into the global supply chain, putting them face-to-face with international buyers. Which brings us to a final provocative thought. We've just explored how a well-engineered exhibition center in Karachi can host global military delegations, drive billions in civilian commerce, and even serve as an absolute lifeline during a pandemic. So next time you're driving around, I want you to look at the concrete and steel in your own neighborhood. How does your city's physical infrastructure actually shape its global economic footprint? What hidden geopolitical stories are literally poured into the foundations of the buildings you pass by every single day? Something to think about. Thanks so much for hanging out for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and we'll catch you next time.